Sweet cider donuts and hard-fought racing. New Hampshire gave us plenty to chew on this weekend. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a lifelong NASCAR fan and chef. On today's episode, we are going to recap the action from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where the Cup Series just wrapped things up. And we're going to make some cider donuts, a New England classic and staple among the fall festivities. I'm going to roll out this dough. While I do, let's explain real quick what this is made of. It just came out of the refrigerator. I let it set. Remember, this is a cake-like dough. Check the description down below for the exact measurements of everything. But basically, we took the dry ingredients, mixed all of those together in a big, large bowl, took the wet ingredients in a separate container, mixed all of those together before adding them into the dry. Then we mixed it together only just, remember, it's a cake-like batter, so we don't want to over mix it. So that's where we ended things with that. Put a wrap over top of it, put it in the refrigerator for a minimum of 2 hours, long enough for us to watch that New Hampshire race. Now let's roll these out and talk about how things played out. So our cake dough, or cake batter, is pretty dang moist. So I'm going to take some flour and heavily cover my surface here. To cut the shape of my donuts, I'm going to use a 3-inch ring mold, and for the inner, a 1-inch to get that nice and even. And we're definitely going to use a bench scraper quite a bit here today to help us out. And we'll get this rolled out onto our floured surface. While I get this rolled out, let's talk about that New Hampshire race. Ryan Blaney, absolutely the dominant car today, though he was hotly contested by Josh Berry there at the end. Definitely had me on the edge of my seat at the end of the race today, that's for sure. It looked like if Berry had been able to get around Blaney, that he probably would have been able to hold him off for the remainder of the race. But ultimately, Blaney prevails with just 12-lap fresher tires. I think that was the difference in it. He was able to hold on to the lead just long enough for the tires to balance out and for him to eventually pull away with the victory today. So good job, Ryan Blaney. Definitely propels him into the next round. He's now secure, doesn't have to worry about the next 2 races. So he can go into Kansas and the Roval, one that he's not all that great at, any road course in general, and not have to sweat it so much. So good job, Ryan Blaney. Josh Berry, good job for him today. Let's also shout that one out. He was spun pretty early in the race. He got all the way through stage 1. Good job. Good job. Finally gets a good round, good stage 1. Comes back to finish second. He definitely had the fastest car there in the final run. He just didn't have enough to get around Blaney at the end. All right, so I have formed this out into a 1/2 inch in depth here, and now I'm going to take my ring molds, and a little trick that I have learned, because this is a moist dough, is that we're going to dip these into some flour to try and prevent sticking as best as possible. And we're just going to take and press, and then we're going to take our bench scraper here to help us transfer over to a piece of parchment paper. Let that fall out onto that. That's what we're going to use to transfer over to our fryer. And then we're going to take our inner ring mold while it's on the transfer paper, so we're not touching it as much, and pull out that center there. This guy's going to be delicious as well. Don't forget to use that guy. All right, so that's our donut. Let's go ahead and cut out more. While I take a minute to cut out more of those, let's take an SVG Minute and catch up on how Shane Van Gisbergen did for the day. Well, certainly not the end to the day that SVG had hoped for, but he definitely had a great start to the day. Qualified 10th, can you believe it? His best oval qualifying effort that he's had, and actually wins a bit of a bet that he had going with Bubba Wallace. The two of them had said that if SVG can out qualify Bubba, that Bubba's going to retire. So yeah, goodbye Bubba, right? 10th starting position equated to a pretty good first stage for sure, but he did have that contact with Josh Berry. And then after that, shortly thereafter, had contact on a restart with Brad Keselowski, who actually bounced it off of the wall into him. SVG spun in front of the field, got collected by Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch smashed in the nose of his car on that one. And that was pretty much it for SVG's hopes for the day. He ends up finishing 32nd, some 51 laps behind, but was able to finish the race. So tough day for SVG, but a definite glimmer of light as he had a great qualifying effort. I've broke out my trusty fryer for these donuts here merely because I want to keep a really consistent temperature. 350 is what we want to have the oil at. And you can do this with a large kettle and have the thermometer on the side and just monitor the heat, but you got to do a lot of adjustment. These go really fast and you really don't want your hands busy with, adjusting with the heat, right? So let's dive into this. We're going to use our trusty bench scraper here to pick up our donuts. While I dump these guys, let's talk about how Denny Hamlin dumped Ty Gibbs today in that race. It was definitely, I would say, a racing deal. Here we go. We're going to take and drop this in here. 2 minutes aside. Oh, that fell right on off. Oh, crap. And we're going to do two at a time here. I did not mean for that guy to jump off like that, but that's okay. It didn't lose its shape. All right. So 1 to 2 minutes aside there. We got that going. They're already floating right on back up for us. Denny Hamlin dumped Ty Gibbs today. Ty Gibbs had nothing productive to say in the interview about it. Definitely towed the line. You could tell Joe Gibbs got to him before the interviewers got there to talk to him. And post-race, Denny Hamlin really didn't have much to say. Something along the lines of, it was unfortunate that that spin happened and it was obvious that there was contact there. I think is kind of how he summed things up there at the end. I'm really excited to listen to Action Sentimental this week. I know that gives me chills just saying it because I don't really like Denny Hamlin, but I am curious to see what he has to say about the contact. All right, donuts are ready to flip. I'm going to take a fish spatula and a piece of bamboo so I can guide this, and I'm just going to flip that guy over and do the same with the next guy and allow them to continue to cook for another minute or two. They're already looking golden on the top side here, which is fantastic. So I also want to touch on Joe Gibbs today. Just really did not have the performance that they were looking for. Yes, they had good finishes overall. Bell was, 6th? Briscoe was 10th. Hamlin was 12th. But they were not the dominant cars that we were expecting going into the weekend. It was definitely clear that the Penske cars were the ones to beat. And all of the competitors in the post-race definitely had as much to say so. I do want to question, though, what happened to 2311 today. They just were not with it. Bubba was off all day long, ended up finishing 26th. Tyler Reddick, he ran top 10-ish, top 15-ish most of the day, ends up finishing 21st. Not a great finish for him. All right, there's another minute. We're ready to pull these donuts. I'm going to put the skewer through the center and look at that guy, nice and golden. And we're going to put this on a wire rack to set up for just a second. Now, there was definitely noticeable improvement today out of the Hendrick Motorsports group. They finished, Byron 3rd, Elliott 5th, Larson was 7th. So really good day out of them. That's the first top 10 for Byron. He was really happy with that, getting that 3rd place finish on the day. So feel good for playoffs as we go into the next race for the round of 12. We see here that the top 4 haven't really changed as far as the points go. What has changed, of course, is Blaney securing a spot into the next round. but Byron has increased his point advantage. So it's Larson and Bell. Hamlin, despite having kind of a rough day, I would say, still gathered enough points to get himself up ahead pretty well. Elliott had a really good points day. They weren't even expecting to have a good points day, and that helped them out tremendously. Chastain had a really good finish today, 9th, however, ends up 12 points below the cut line at the end of the day. Hendrick also below the cut line at -19. Reddick and Wallace, the 2311 cars, like I said, had really rough days. Reddick -23 to the cut. Wallace now -27. That is disappointing. Moving on to the best part of the stage of the donuts is getting them coated in some cinnamon sugar. So we're going to take the donut that's been resting here for a little while here and just toss that in the cinnamon sugar. Give that a good roll. Look at that. That looks good enough for me to give that a thumbs up for sure. So that leads us to the next segment. All right, guys. Well, if you watched the race, I think you'll agree with me. I am giving this one a thumbs up. That's for sure. This was a heck of a race. There was passing all throughout the day. Yes, passing was difficult. We were expecting that, but it wasn't impossible to pass. Each driver had to really work and set up a pass to make that happen. It took several laps, but it showed the amount of skill that was required to make that happen. So we walked a very good, fine line today in getting that to happen today, and I was very pleased with it. So Loudon gets a thumbs up. There were just enough cautions to keep it interesting. It didn't get sloppy at all, and I just thought it was just a really good race. The fastest driver definitely won it, and it's always a good day in my book when Ryan Blaney takes a win. He's definitely one of my favorite drivers. So that's what I thought of the race. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the race. Be sure to put a comment down below, put an emoji of a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and let me know a couple of reasons why you thought it was a good race or not. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right, well, here we go. We've got a plate of cider donuts. It smells amazing, absolutely wonderful. Let's take a look at these guys and break one open here. Oh, yeah, look at that. That looks wonderful. Smells fantastic. Full of apple goodness, that's for sure. Love the flavor, love the texture. While I'm enjoying these donuts, let's catch up on the news of the week real quick. Rick Ware Racing and Legacy Motor Club settled their lawsuit, so that's no longer a thing in the courts anymore. And they've come to agreement for Rick Ware Racing to sell one of their charters over to Legacy Motor Clubs. If you guys didn't see the start of the race today, Kurt Busch was the Grand Marshal today, and personally, I'm going to say a meh, but was happy to see Ricky Craven behind the wheel of the pace car. And then finally, if you didn't catch the Truck Series race yesterday on Saturday afternoon, Corey Heim secured his 9th win of the season. That ties a record for the Truck Series. There are 4 races remaining in their season, and he has obviously 4 opportunities to secure a new record in the Truck Series. Only a matter of time before Corey Heim makes his way to the big leagues. All right, guys, well, that'll do it for me here. I'm going to sit and enjoy these for the rest of the night. These are freaking delicious. Like I said, check out the recipe below. They come together really easily. You just got to have a little bit of time to do it. This is something that you could make the batter the night beforehand, put them in the refrigerator overnight so that you're ready to cut and fry them first thing in the morning. If that's something you're doing, you're hosting some guests and want to have some great apple cider donuts. Try them out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you do make them, be sure to take a picture and post that on the Facebook page. That's all I've got for you guys out of New Hampshire. If you like what I'm doing here, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes where I tie together NASCAR and food. Until later, guys, stay happy.